folks, my name is Prak from paychecksSG.com and welcome to this edition of Stripped. So in today's episode, we're going to be covering Acclivis. Now, Acclivis is basically provide enterprise cloud services in the Asia Pacific region on top of managing internet services. They were also the parent company of Pacific Internet. And did you know, for those of you in Singapore, back in the 90s, you would probably know that Pacific Internet was one of the pioneering internet service providers. And I still remember having my own Pacific Internet modem and having that sound. Alright, that was pretty lousy rendition of that modem sound, but anyway, let's jump into it. So let's go into the site itself and cover the top 5 points of this Acclivis website. Alright, so they've got good use of high resolution images, as you can see from the carousel here, and they're very relevant. To a certain extent, there's a clear color scheme. I can see that they're using the blue, the greens, and the yellows, and they use it consistently throughout as well. Now, there's a separate navigation link for the separate business units, like for example, this commercial cloud calculator, which tells me that, you know what, that's an important part of the business itself, and they've put a dedicated link for that, so that's good. The other thing that I kind of like is the knowledge bank, which is a pretty good resource where, let's say, if you want to find out anything regarding managed internet services itself, cloud services, anything that Acclivis is pretty good at doing, you can find it right here in the knowledge bank itself. So you can see like client setup, how do you do that stuff and all. All right, and the content is basically relevant in most of the pages itself, and this is very good for SEO. So if you punch in any of the pages itself, all right, there's going to be a good amount of information there telling you about basically what they do and use of H1 tags and H2 and paragraph tags as well. All right, so now let's jump into the points that I didn't really like that much. So if we punch out the navigation itself, I find this a bit cluttered. There's way too many things going on here. So they could probably use the drop-down list itself and focus a bit more on the key areas or the SBUs. Or strategic business units. So for example, let's say if you're looking at cloud technology and managed internet services, this could all be subsumed under cloud. And then, you know, you could have separate tabs under the drop-down menus itself. And basically for the commercial cloud calculator and perhaps maybe even login, these two could have a separate navigation icon right beside here. So if you've got real estate in the navigation bar, use it. So the other thing is in the carousel, what I found was that this, since it starts browsing through, some of the links are not working. So let's say, for example, if I were to click on this one here, I think it's this one here. Yeah, this one's working. This one's working. Yeah, this one's not. So you might want to really go through the different links itself, your links once in a while. And do check that basically, for example, any of your links that, you know, that's the first thing that customers are going to be seeing when they come onto your website. So you want to make sure that those are not broken links. All right. And the contents for in the news, well, it's really pretty much similar to basically, you know, the knowledge bank information itself. So what they could have done is that, and all of this is just basically a Word document itself. So I'm not too sure whether this is a basically a press release or something sort of like knowledge bank. Well, judging by the headlines itself, it seems like knowledge bank resources itself. So that's something that you might want to, you know, compress down to prevent the clutter on your website and navigations as well. So although the site is mobile friendly, talking about performance wise, the load times are rather unacceptable, and this is mainly due to the high resolution images, and they really need to be optimized. And the last thing that I didn't really like was the content page. Where's that? Yeah, there we go. So the contact page, instead of coming up to a typical drop-down list where I can basically, or a field where form field where I can fill out a contact form and say, you know what, I've got this inquiry, can you answer this for me? It punches out to the careers page, which technically is really wrong, because if you're finding out information about them, you wouldn't want to be searching for a job on that page itself. All right. So that's something that you got to look for. And with that said, let's rank the site. So when it comes to ranking itself, I'm going to be using an assessment rubric, and there are 4 main considerations that I use. So the first one being visuals. So what kind of fonts, colors do they use on the website itself? the use of photos, white space, and when it comes down to content, what kind of call to actions or click to actions do you use? Is it relevant to the user? Too much versus too little text, and also the micro copies. And when we talk about micro copies, it's about the navigation labels, the use of the headlines, H1 tags. The third one would be navigation. So how user friendly is your site itself in terms of the site architecture? Is it something easy to navigate, or are you just going through a maze? And the last one would be the performance. Now, when we talk about performance, I'm focusing on things that to the human eye itself, we can visually see that whether it's fast or whether the site is slow. And so I focus on two main things primarily, page speed and the page size itself. So that would kind of give me a whole idea of visually, would it take, well, somewhere in the range of probably about 10 seconds or maybe just 2 seconds. And that makes a bit of a difference. All right. So jumping in back into the Acclivis site itself, I would give it about 4 out of 5 clicks for visuals. Really good white space as a clear, color scheme itself, good high resolution images. In content wise, I would say there's a lot of content that's relevant to the pages, so I give it 4 out of 5 clicks. Navigation could be improved, like for what I mentioned earlier itself. There were a lot of things in the navigation bars that could be kind of optimized. So I'd give it 2 out of 5 clicks. Performance was pretty decent. I think the biggest thing that took a hit was the high resolution images that weren't optimized. So I'd give it 3 out of 5 clicks. And overall, I would say that this Acclivis site itself would be about 7 out of 10 clicks. So it's not that bad, pretty decent. All right, and with that, we've come to the end of this episode. So hope you guys learned a thing or two for that. And if you know of a website that you want stripped, just comment below, and who knows, maybe it might be in the show next week. All right. So if you need any website help, any UX help as well on your website design, do hit us up at pagexsg.com or hello@pagexsg.com. All right. So till then, stay safe and keep making the web a more user-friendly space.